Right, we wanted to focus on the organophosphate insecticides. As we move through these organophosphate insecticides, you may find that we could repeat some of the issues which we have mentioned when we were talking about the mode of action, because we wanted to understand about the structure of these organophosphates. So organophosphates were developed as nerve gases during the World War. No wonder why they target the nervous system when they kill a pest, or when somebody is poisoned by these organophosphates. Their site of activity is going to be the nervous system. Again, we talked about this structure of organophosphate. Let me right. So we talked about this structure of the organophosphate, where you have R1, R2 representing either methyl or ethyl, and you have these joined to oxygen, and at the center you have got phosphorus. X represents a specific organic group, then Y could be oxygen or sulfur. That is the organophosphate. And sometimes you have a structure like this. Like I said before, organophosphates, you have got two other groups, which are usually methyl or ethyl, and are the same in one molecule. They should be the same. X is a complex aliphatic, and X is referred to as a living group. So you can have a POX or a PSX, meaning that sometimes you have sulfur or oxygen in the molecule. I talked about the orthophosphates: chlorvavin-phos, dichlorphos, mavin-phos, phosphamidol. And the P is surrounded by 4 oxygen atoms. That is the key to orthophosphates. And when you now have the oxygen being substituted by sulfur, you now have thione phosphates. From orthophosphates, we are now going to thione phosphates, because we now have sulfur. Sometimes we call them phosphorothionettes. And among these, we have got bromophos, diazinon, phenylthione, parathione, pyrinephos, and they can be methyl or ethyl groups. If you have a double bond on the oxygen, and the sulfur now attached to the X. You now have the thiophosphates or phosphorothioates. You now have dimethyl S-methyl, oxydimethyl S-methyl, or famidothione. And when you have two sulfur atoms, you may have dithiophosphates or phosphorothioates. Here are the examples. Azinphos-methyl, dimethate, disulfotone, malathione, menazone, phorate. Phosphonates, again we have all the three oxygen atoms, but also you have the other groups being directly attached to phosphorus. For these pesticides, you have got the trichlorophone butanate. And this complicated structure, this one is for Schrader, pyrophospholamides, where you have got two components joined at the oxygen atom at the center. I also talked about the enzymes which can attack organophosphates, phosphatases, type A esterase, microsomal monoxygenase, which is your cytochrome P450, carboxyl esterase, glutathione S-aryl transferase, glutathione S-alkyl transferase. Here we are showing you the organophosphate and the position which could be attacked by enzymes. On top there we've got the phosphatase type A esterase, which can hit at oxygen, cytochrome P450 or microsomal monoxygenase hitting at sulfur, glutathione alkyl transferase hitting at again another molecule there, oxygen, phosphatase type A esterase, as well as the cytochrome P450 or microsomal monoxygenase hitting at oxygen. And on top of that you have got glutathione S-aryl transferase. So it appears that the organophosphates will be vulnerable to enzyme activity. Probably that's why they may not last that long after application compared to things like DDT. Here again we are showing positions where the enzyme can act on the organophosphate molecule. Again here sulfur could be hit by cytochrome P450, which is microsomal monoxygenase. The hydrogen at the end there could be vulnerable to microsomal monoxygenase, which is actually the name for cytochrome P450. The oxygen there can be affected by carboxylamidase. Now, what are the practical uses? These are widely used to control insect pests. tended to replace, like we said before, organochlorines because of persistence problems and pollution of, for example, DDT. Frequent sprays are necessary during the course of the growing season. I think the reason is that these organophosphates don't last within the environment. You can see they have lots of enzymes which can attack them when they enter a living system. So they have no chance of staying. But these organophosphates are very effective on aphids. Probably we have gone through this, but it's necessary. Now we can divide the organophosphates into subgroup 1 and so on. So let us focus on subgroup 1, organophosphates. These are the compounds of low chemical stability. They are soluble in water but more or less hydrolyzed by it. They can actually break down. Used as contact insecticides. Examples: Bevinphos, tetraethyl pyrophosphate, and tetradiclovinphos. Subgroup 2, organophosphates, moderate to high chemical stability, usually of low solubility in water but soluble in oil. Persistent contact or quasi-systemic, activated before it reaches the site of action. Examples: we have got malathion, which is commonly used, diazinon, phenylthione, and trichlorophon. Subgroup 3, organophosphates, moderate to high chemical stability, activated before it reaches the site of action. We've got examples like dimethoate, dimetone methyl, folate, formathione, and disulfotone. Subgroup 4, organophosphates, sufficiently high vapor pressure, low chemical stability. This could be fumigants. Examples: dichlorphos, sulfur-tep. Subgroup 5, organophosphates. These can be used as granules for soil application. Examples: chlorvevinphos, folate, diazinon, and bromophos. Subgroup 6, organophosphorus. These are surface application, systemic action in animals. Examples: we have got phenyclophos, coumaphos, dimethoate. So this is it on organophosphates. I just wanted you to have a bit more on the organophosphate. So I'll